right, joining us now, she is the all-time leader at UCF Volleyball in assists. She is one of the greats in UCF Volleyball. Of course, she's also has done it all at UCF, including being a mom to Luke Mottola, who is now baseball player at UCF, and of course the wife of Chad Mottola, the Tampa Bay Rays hitting coach and UCF Athletic Hall of Famer. I speak of Emily Mottola joining us here. That's a lot of titles. You got a lot of unique titles.
I'm surprised that some of them are still standing, but thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about you and just kind of what's it been like to be, on the one hand, you have a daughter who plays volleyball like you did as a setter. You've got a son who's playing baseball at UCF, the same school you went to. And then obviously your husband is the hitting coach for the Tampa Bay Rays, who is a UCF Hall of Famer. And you're kind of the glue of all this, as Chad told me and Don when we talked to him at the Rays clubhouse, that you're the glue person to kind of make this all work. So just kind of describe all that.
Yeah, it's all we've ever known, having dated since college days and a husband that travels a lot, you kind of are at home and kind of running the show with the kids. So we're just happy they both fell in love with, the sports that we loved. We would have been happy with them doing anything they chose, but they're both having, just remarkable careers, and we're just happy for the opportunities that they've been given, really.
As a parent, do you kind of let the son and the daughter pick what they want to do? Do you just see it early on in them? Because obviously there's a big athletic family background there. So I'm just curious how that all develops as Luke decides, hey, I want to be a baseball player. He was certainly an athlete, played a lot of other sports, but he decided on baseball. And then your daughter literally playing volleyball, literally playing the same position as you as a setter as she gets ready to go to college.
Yeah, no pressure to do either one, really. We wanted them to definitely blaze their own trail. So they both went to Catholic grade school, and the fun part of that about that is they do offer every sport. So they played everything, from elementary school all the way up into high school. Luke did football, basketball, and baseball, and we were really not sure which direction he wanted to head until it was more toward the end of high school, and then some opportunities opened up, and he jumped on them. My daughter, I tried to make her a tennis player, but she didn't love it. And she'll tell you that. She, was just kind of the gym rat. I was coaching Luke's middle school volleyball team, and another coach noticed her peppering against the wall and said, "Hey, can she come play for my team?" She was probably 9 or 10 years old, and her eyes just lit up, and we've never looked back since. So she is in love with it, and it's just fun to see her play the sport that I love and the position that I love. It makes for some good conversation in the car, little back to school special all the time, as far as just talking about the game. And it just, as far as a player, she knows more than I ever knew at this age, and is way better than I ever was. So it's really fun.
Go
Uh,
ahead, Don.
Emily, so I was wondering, we're in a couple, like you and Chad come from a different era of college sports where the transfer portal, those things weren't as rampant and crazy. Like, kids these days have all these different options. How much does it mean to you guys to kind of have Luke continue the legacy of your family and decide to go to UCF and play for the same team that his dad did when he could have went maybe anywhere else?
Well, his opportunities weren't like a lot. So we're thankful to Rich for giving him that opportunity to play, and just seeing, I guess, the athlete in him and the potential and upside that he does have. So it really, I mean, it hit hard for us. We were very excited. There's nothing like seeing your kid follow in your own path. And our love for UCF, is thick. We still do a lot of stuff out at UCF, and all of our good friends are from those days. So it's holds a very special place in our heart. We're excited for him.
Yeah, and I mean, what can be said about just not only the ties that you guys have to UCF, but Florida in general? I mean, I know that Chad had been all over for his career and then comes
Mhm.
back, spends the last decade or so with the Rays. I mean, what does this state and the Orlando community mean to you guys?
We've always kept a home base in Orlando. So since both of us, went to UCF early on, it's always it's always been home. There were many times and many different scenarios where we were wondering if we should maybe move the kids, and especially when the COVID year hit and Luke was heading into high school, that would have been the year to move over to St. Pete, Orlando, or Tampa area. But the kids were dead set against that. They wanted to remain here with their friends, and we fully supported that. So Orlando, Florida in general, we couldn't be luckier that he's with the Rays. The organization, top to bottom, is amazing. Some of our greatest friends, are on that team, and the coaching staff as well. So it's, we say it's as like he's as close as he can be, but it's like the longest, shortest drive there is in Florida, if that makes any sense. So it's easy, but not easy.
Yeah, I know that when we talked to Chad, he said that despite a rough season for UCF baseball and Luke not really getting any playing time, he's keeping a really positive attitude, very calm outlook. What is it about the program that draws not only him but you guys? And what do you see his future looking like in the short term with the team, from a mother's perspective?
We're just taking it honestly day by day. He got the opportunity to go up to Lima, Ohio this summer and play summer ball. So they're playing 6 out of 7 days a week and traveling all around the Great Lakes. So I think that's a really special experience. And we're just, trying, keep your head down, keep working hard, and just keep enjoying each day truly. And hopefully that, in the fall at UCF, he'll have finally played in some games, because there's nothing like actually playing in games. He didn't get that opportunity his freshman year, and that was totally understandable. So we just, take it a day at a time, a week at a time, and he's loving his season up there. He's got one other freshman teammate that he's with, and it's really great because they've met kids from all over. So he's got a bunch of new buddies, and Chad and I are actually heading up there next week for a couple days during the All-Star break to finally go see him play. So we're excited.
Awesome. Yeah. And with your daughter kind of carving her own path and choosing a Big 12 rival to play for, is there any friendly banter there? Do you guys like
Oh,
around and
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll have to cheer for ASU. Sadly, when when those days come, she's going to graduate early in December and head out to Tempe in January. So it's a really awesome opportunity with a new coaching staff that's only been there a couple years, and she just connected and clicked with all of them, and it really made the most sense for her to be out there. So she couldn't be more excited.
Kind of crazy that we're saying UCF and Arizona State conference rivals. I don't think that was not even in the radar when you played there. I mean, that's
Oh,
kind of unique.
Oh, it's beyond unique. Yeah, the travel that they have to do now is unbelievable. And we always say, like, I never even played 25-point volleyball, I think. So I don't even know. We always say, do they even have like our, the records back when we played? It was like in the old filing cabinets that got, kicked out the back door when they when they moved the buildings. But yeah, the game's changed, everything's changed. So yeah, the travel will be fun, but I'm just thankful that one has a fall season and that one has a spring season, and I'm not, they're not bumping up against each other.
What got you to go to UCF as a volleyball player?
Back in the day, the recruiting process, obviously everything was different. So I sent my VHS tape out to multiple schools, and my dad had attended Florida State, so that is where I initially had wanted to go, but UCF came back with the most interest, the best offer, and it was it was the up and coming school, and I knew someday it would be the FSU and UF, and sure enough, that it's that and more now. So I took that opportunity, and it's been amazing. I it's just funny to think back on, like, submitting the VHS tapes and that sort of stuff. But
I have a VHS still, so I'm
yeah,
with you, all right? So I'm still one of
yeah.
the last few that there. Don right now is just looking at us like, what are you guys talking
Ah,
Oh man.
about? Like, what are we talking about? But like you had an incredible time. You played for Laura Smith,
it is.
and you got to play with, among others, Miriam Metzcus. And it was interesting because I got to call UCF Volleyball in like 2022, which was McKenna Melville's senior year. And Amber Olson was her setter, and they were tight. They were kind of in sync. And I remember because Amber was moving up a lot of the stats for center. That's kind of in a weird way how I got to know you because you were all over the record book. And and my thought reaction was like, who is this person? And number two, why is she not in the Hall of Fame? Which is a whole other story. But you all had that great run in the '90s where you dominated what was called the TAC, and now it's the ASUN
Oh,
conference there. Describe that era playing for Laura Smith and playing for the talented players that you did, like a Miriam Metzcus.
Miriam, there's no one like Miriam. She's still one of my best friends to this day. She was a phenomenal volleyball player, and you said it perfect. It was just kind of one of those teammates where it's an unspoken language on the court. Her, Renata Menchikova, I mean, the list goes on and on. We could get on the phone tomorrow and have probably almost our entire starting lineup here next weekend. Like that's how close the girls on this team still are. So, um, I had a roommate, Amy from Colorado. We had Lori and Emily. Michelle Cutright's another one who has a, UCF baseball connection as well. Annabelle and Maribel Marcos from South Florida. So like I said, and Tyra was also from our hometown in Fort Myers, Florida. And then, the most special experience of it all was playing, with my sister. So I got 2 years with my sister, and my parents, it was just a really fun time for them.
Well, I didn't know that part. So your sister played on that UCF. What position did she play?
She was a right side, like back row specialist, lefty right side player. Yeah. Susie Moore now, Susie Quiser.
Oh wow! I didn't. That's a cool
Yeah.
stat. That's funny. And obviously, you were there 4 straight conference championships while you were there. It was part of that 6-year run, 6 straight championships. There, in fact, I mean, '95. We're at the 30-year anniversary of that '95 team. That was your last year.
Yeah.
How has the sport changed? Because now you have a different perspective. You're a mother of a volleyball player, so you've seen it. I mean, your daughter's making headlines in the newspapers when like club ball is winning the state, championships and all that stuff that goes on during the summer and things like that. How has the sport changed from when you were a player to now being a mom and being around your daughter and seeing the sport?
Well, just the game overall has changed completely. We laugh when we say, we played real volleyball where you had to earn your points and those 15-point matches, and there was no rally scoring, there was no libero. So yeah, a ton in that aspect has changed, but the same I guess the same camaraderie and the same just the fire and intensity, and just watching her play now, I still feel it's like you're almost back on the court with your teammates from back in the day. Like I can see the joy and just the true friendship and the love for one another, which has truly is why her current team has done so well. And they had so much success this year. It was one for the record books. They just won AAUs 2 weeks ago, and she got MVP. It couldn't have written itself a better script. So just proud of her and her team, because obviously this is a sport where you rely on team. You can't do it by yourself, and if you don't have that great group of girls surrounding you, that you're not going to get it done. Like that's the most important part.
How much do the kids did they growing up ask you about your playing career, or Chad ask him about his playing career?
Chad's always the highlight, so I just kind of stand back and remind them that they might have gotten a little bit of athletic ability from me, but no, it's all about dad, and he has the big fancy career, but we just it really neither of us cared so much. It was just more about what the kids are doing and what they're accomplishing, and really not about us. When the kids are growing up, we don't ever want that pressure to live up to what either one of us did, because we just want them to be them, really.
All right. Well, I'm going to brag on your behalf. You're still as we talk today, you're still the program's all-time leader in games played, 156, assists, 5,923. 3 of your 4 seasons ranks in the single season assist record. You rank second in career aces, over 201 aces. You're fourth in aces per set. You're seventh in digs, 1,155. That's pretty good. That's a good resume there, playing career there.
I like it. Yeah, it sounds good. It is. I'm surprised by it, and like you said, the great players that have come after us, like the Amber and the McKenna, connection. And my daughter enjoyed watch. She was a young girl, and those were her role models, at UCF growing up, and she would stand in line for their autographs. Jordan Pingle, who is a defensive specialist at UCF, ended up coaching her, and I have pictures of Elle standing there getting, volleyballs autographed from her. So it's just, there's been so many great players since my time, and we just enjoy it year after year.
You and Renata were the first pro players, by the way, to be selected all region, AVCA all region from UCF. You're
Yeah.
also an ASUN Player of the Year and a Tournament MVP, which for a setter is not easy to accomplish. Usually, those outside hitters get the benefit of the doubt in those type of awards. So, is there any of those accolades I just referenced? Is there one in particular that you're the most proud of?
I mean, I think being a player of the year for the conference, because, that's a vote that you're getting from all the coaches within the conference. And obviously that all region team, I'm not sure exactly what they called that back in the day that Renata and I were both a part of. I think Tyra was as well, but yeah, those were special. I didn't, at the time it felt just like kind of almost part of the process, but Renata, Tyra, Miriam, like just special, special players, special teammates, and we couldn't have done it without each other. I still run in the last game I was at. Renata was there with her daughter, and our girls got to meet. So it's those kind of, little things that just remind us how special of a time we had together.
Does any memories flash back? As you know, I saw you in the fall when you obviously Luke was playing fall ball, and you and Chad
Right.
were there, and your daughter were there to watch him play. When you come to campus, do you have this? It's unique because Chad even mentioned it. The campus is so completely different now that it's a
It
completely. It
is.
feels like a different school. So, how do you feel when you every time you come on campus? Do you have any memories pop up, or is it such a different campus that it's almost like a different school? How do you feel when you every time you come on campus?
No, there's a ton of memories. And it's funny because the kids are like, "Yeah, we know, you've told us," or we'll drive, we'll drive by CVI, and I'm like, "That's where we used to live," and and we'd explain to them how the girl athletes were on the inside and the guys were on the outside, and there was no parking garages on campus. I think they hear the same story every time we go onto campus about all the different spots. But yeah, the memories are great. Even like some full circle moments where when Chad threw out the first pitch a couple games into the season this year, and we had some video of Luke throwing out the first pitch when he was maybe, oh gosh, 2 years old. So, that kind of like was a moment of pause for me and just reflection on how lucky we are to have had this for so long. And yeah, every time, we're still out there all the time. I was just looking at football tickets today, so and renewed my volleyball tickets, so all is good. But yeah, we love it out there. Even with everything that's new, I still feel like there's enough of the old that it feels like home.
I feel like everybody that's gone to UCF, Don's currently a student there. I feel like
Okay.
everybody has garage stories. I feel like everybody, we've
Yeah,
all
yeah.
had that story, right? Don, am I right on this?
Oh yeah, it's when I first started there, spring of 24, I was like, wow, it's so easy to park here. And then fall semester came and I'm like, there's nowhere to park. So
No.
I don't know if there's like an influx, but yeah, it feels like the student body's growing every year. I know it's close to 80,000, which obviously substantially bigger in any way, Emily, is that I know there's so many good memories, but is it kind of intimidating almost to see how much the school has grown and like how rapidly it's ascending in certain ways?
No, I think it's great. Really,
Yeah.
it doesn't have that big school feel to us, like just because we have our groups and we have our friends, and so there's a sense of smallness there. But yeah, coming on campus, I mean, parking's still difficult, during sporting events and that kind of thing. And back in the day, you could just pull up to the dirt lot at the old Wade bench, and the baseball stadium's right there. So those kind of things have changed, but all for the better. Keep growing, keep getting better, keep getting bigger. It's great.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what can you say about Luke's work ethic and his drive to do the best he can, and like his love for the game. Would you say like how much of that does he get from his dad? How much of it is his own personality? Just kind of describe like who he is as a player.
I mean, Chad would probably be able to describe it better because they have, their daily talks and, I can only speak so much baseball, I guess it is. But so I try and offer, other areas like and not talk about the game all the time. So he's a hard worker. He was a great student in high school. He still is in college. So I always tell him like at the end of the day, the mathlete is my favorite athlete. And even if baseball for someday wasn't there, he has, other opportunities and avenues that he can go down. But yes, he's very determined. Him and Chad, are texting at length, during games, after games, into the evenings, and there's a lot of conversation. And it's hard though too, because it's almost like the shoemaker's kid, he's not around to like, we're finally getting to go see Luke next week. But it's hard not being there for him more often because of Chad's schedule and having to be on the road so much. So we're just here as, support. But yeah, the work ethic's there, the love of the game is there. I think he couldn't, having that the teammates and that group that you get that comes with playing a sport in college, I think that really is the most special part.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, Chad, he said that you were the glue that kind of keeps it all together. How important is that in a family of athletes, especially when one is constantly dealing with the daunting and grueling schedule that the MLB produces? I mean, he's on the road, a bunch throughout the year, and like, how important is it to just continue to have that family camaraderie and that stability at home to not only make your kids better athletes, but just better people?
Yeah, it's everything. And like I said, it's all we've ever known. So it works for us, but it's not easy. It can be a lot of fun at times, but it's hard. He's gone 8 months out of the year and obviously he does come home on off days, but a lot of times some of those off days they're flying in from the West Coast and getting in at anywhere between 3 and 5 in the morning. And then the next day is your off day. Really, you've got to kind of sleep and that's about it. So, um, sorry, I have another, okay, call coming in. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's, we make it work and, the priority is the kids. And if he has an off day and can be home, he's here and he's going to events and trying to attend everything we can. So as much as it would be nice even next week to have 4 days of the All-Star break at home, we're jumping on a flight early to get up to Ohio to watch Luke play. So, that all those things with the kids are our priority. And then, the travel volleyball season can be as grueling as the MLB season, I feel like. So traveling with her is, it's been nothing but fun, but a big, a big commitment all year.
Eric,
How
do
do
you
you,
have any?
yeah, how do you balance the being a mom? You mentioned it, like Luke talks to his dad about baseball. So you're probably playing more of the mom being supportive role. But at the
Yes.
same time, you were an athlete yourself. You were a great volleyball player. So there's probably some thoughts in your mind as when you, for example, watch your daughter play volleyball, you might want to offer some insights. But then there's that, well, but at the same time, I got to be a mom. How do you balance that being the athlete, offer her, help her, but at the same time, not just be like, hey, this is how I did it. I'm just going to be a supportive mom.
Yeah, that's tricky. It's really tricky. And I was lucky enough to be given the opportunity to coach. Well, I coached both of them in middle school. But then her club team at Winter Park Volleyball Club, I was able to coach from like 10s to 14s, I think it was. So that was really fun to, but by the time she was ready to go to high school, I knew that I was already going to step away because they need that new voice. They need someone else. But um, sometimes she's receptive to comments, but I'm really careful with my timing. We'll wait not the day of sometimes. Maybe it's a couple days down the road after a tournament, or I'll be like, hey, what'd you think about this? Or what'd you think about that? Or why did you do this? Um, and I can tell if she wants to talk about it at the moment or not. So I'm just kind of careful, but I really just enjoy being the parent and the cheerleader now more than anything else. And And like I said, she's way better than I ever was. So she's actually teaching me some things.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How did you and Chad meet?
You know, when you're an athlete, like that's your group. So like the volleyball team and the baseball team hung out together and eventually just kind of all meet each other. And there's no fraternities, sororities. You're just hanging out with the athletes, going to study hall, eating together, living together. And that's how we met.
So was he still at UCF playing baseball, or he had just gone on to play professionally?
He had just gotten drafted and like came back and then still stayed with all his buddies at UCF because, you know, technically he was only in his junior season. So we met his first like a couple months after he got drafted when he got back.
Because he told us that you knew what you were signing up for because he was going to play professionally. What I mean, obviously you fall in love and everything like that, but you knew that this was not going to be an easy relationship. I mean, he was upfront with you about it, but you always were supportive. Where did that come from? And being so supportive through his journey, from his playing careers, playing through the minors, then getting into coaching, that's a lot to take. But you've been able, like I said, you've been there every step of the way. What has that journey been like to follow him as he's followed his career here to now being with the success he's had?
Yeah, it's been great. Early on, I was a high school teacher myself, really across the street from UCF, a university high. So that schedule worked great. I could have the summers off to go travel wherever. We lived in many different minor league cities. The majority of his career was in the minor leagues. So, again, not as glamorous as it may seem, but it was fun. And then once we had the kids, the early years are actually easier, just grabbing them and going and spending the summers in a different city. So they got some really unique opportunities and it was great. Like I didn't mind it at all. And then it honestly really gets harder as the kids get older and they have more things going on. And then you can't make as many road trips or get over to see them. I think that's when the challenges, got harder. And then Chad was missing some big events or big games or things like that. So we're like, this doesn't feel great. But at least one of us was there. We have amazing grandparents that are in town that are at everything. So that really helps.
I bet it does. He said that you being an athlete, you both being athletes, helped. That you
Oh,
understood
yeah.
where he's coming. How big of a help is that as he was going through his career, and how big of a help is that for you being as a mom now, having two kids who are athletes themselves, and you can relate to what they're going through?
Yeah, it's a kind of a competitive nature and just, pushing them to compete and, pushing them to kind of get out of their comfort zone and certain things. So, just knowing what they're talking about and being able to, just to have a conversation with them on their level as far as like you said, being that athlete is, and it's being relatable, I guess, more than anything.
Who's the most competitive of the family right now?
Oh, I mean, I'd like to say me, but
Give me what
yeah,
there's. I know with all of you, with all the accolades and the athletic,
yeah.
being athletes, there's got to be something as a family that y'all get really competitive about on your spare time. What is that? Is it like a
Yeah.
board game? Could be whatever. There's got to be something. It could be like I could envision like your son and daughter maybe growing up racing to the car just to see who gets first. Like, give me who's the
Yeah.
who, give me a what's something that triggers the competitive say side of the Mottola family.
No board games or things like that. I think the one that's the funnier one is maybe like a fantasy football leagues or things like that. Like in my daughter questioning, a lot of what my husband was doing, and he needs to start listening to her. So um, and I stay out of that world. That is not an area of interest for me. But the three of them, it's amazing the conversations that go down over things like that. So as far as the kids, I always told Elle she has an amazing older brother. He was just like the super nice. They're like brother and sister. You push each other and do whatever. But overall, Luke could not have been a nicer big brother for her. So she's lucky.
Okay, very good. I know, Chad. You mentioned it even earlier, and Chad's mentioned it. You all go to football games
Hmm.
at least a couple times a year when you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you've been back to the venue. You've been obviously at John Giuliano Park. What jumps out at you? What's it been like seeing UCF sporting events at those venues that didn't exist when you played? Like, I think Don would be kind of freaked out if you told him where you actually played your home matches when
Oh,
you.
I know it, Don, in the education building,
There
like
you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
yeah. And there was, the little round window doors on, our coach would kind of peek through the doors to check on us during practice. And then we did eventually move over to I guess, the new arena, which is now the volleyball arena. Right when, I think maybe junior or senior year, I'm trying to think of the timing exactly. So I was even laughing to myself this morning. I was thinking back about, working out. We all worked out in the same weight room with the football players and everything. And I remember going onto campus one day to work out, and I walked in and like Coach Kruzek was in there, and he was the only one lifting and throwing weight around. And I kind of looked around, it was just me and him, and I'm like, I like this. I was like, this almost scares me. I need to get out of here. It was just funny. But it was just like very special moments. And Wayne Dench, it almost felt like two portables back in the day, over there in front of that baseball stadium. And now, just the facilities, the amenities that the kids have, moving my son into the towers, last fall, like very surreal. And how special to be, 10 steps away from the baseball field, and Garvey right down the way. So what they have now is really, really neat, and we remind them and tell them all the time how lucky they are.
I was gonna say, do you and Chad, like, do you bring that up, or like, hey, we didn't have this when we went here, we
Oh
played?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes. It was like Shoney's buffets and on the, whatever you could hit on the road. And yeah.
What part of the UCF now that exists you wish you had when you played?
I don't know. I'm into the nutrition part of it. I
I
think that's
figured.
really neat. Yeah, for me, that how all that, and when they work out and then they've got their smoothies ready, or whatever it is. I think that piece is amazing. We did not have anything like that. So straight
See
to the
this.
cup.
See
Yeah.
this sounds like me and Don. Like Don's like, I got to get going. I got to get to the bounce house and avoid traffic. I'm like, dude, that's easy compared to like when I started went to school. We had to go to the Citrus Bowl to watch games in
Right.
downtown. Like it's just like
Right.
and it's a big stadium and we're like 15, 20,000 people are like raising keys. Like and Don has no idea about this. And Bryson's another one. They're like foreign concept to them. Like it's
And
gonna
we would try and sneak down to the Citrus Bowl because we would have a match later that night.
yes.
And then our coach did not want us going to the football game and baking in the sun or whatever it was before the match, but we would sneak down there and go to the football game and then run back for our match. And yeah, it was fun.
Right, you couldn't do that. Like it's funny now. In recent years, there'd be volleyball matches going on, maybe before a football game or stuff like that, or the night before, which has become their big thing they like to do. And you could do
Hmm.
both. Whereas, yeah, right back then that's impossible because you would have to go
Yeah,
all the way to the Citrus Bowl. They go all the way back.
right.
Same thing with baseball with Chad. I've talked to Chad about it. Like there was no John Giuliano Park or Jay Bergman Field. They had to play
No.
at all these various places.
Yeah, I know. It was, we loved it as much as the kids love their, facilities today. So I guess it's all relative.
See, Don, you got it spoiled.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I do. I guess I do. I was wondering, Emily, so obviously you had such a vast difference in resources and all these different things, but you were able to achieve a level of greatness to where your record still stands still in time. What does that mean to you? And also, how excited are you to watch UCF volleyball moving forward, and how involved do you hope to be in any capacity?
Yeah, it's really my records are just a true testament to the great teammates I had, and like I said, I've already named them all off. Just a really special group of girls that is still, as close today as we were when we played. As far as UCF going forward, I renewed my season tickets this morning. I still love going out to games, especially I had the opportunity to meet the new coach this season, and I'm excited for that new staff. It seems like a really great group of people. So I'm excited to see, where the program is going to head under their leadership.
Yeah, that's a pretty good atmosphere too there at the venue
Oh
there.
yeah,
You mentioned there.
it's
Uh,
great.
I know Miriam's enjoyed it when she's been back. Describe the player that she was, because she's another one that I like you. That's one of the greats that I think has kind of gone under maybe under the radar as you get more accolades. Her numbers are way up there. The only reason she doesn't have more records is because McKenna Melville broke most of them.
Right.
Became there. But what kind of player was she? Because obviously you two, and I would imagine you two had a chemistry on the court and made you both each other better.
Miriam she's one of those McKenna Melville type players. Like there's just they have that intangible, like there's a spark within them, a competitive drive, the energy, you were never not getting up for a game if Miriam's out on the court with you. So, and like speaking to that, unspoken language, you just had to like make eye contact and you almost knew like what she wanted, if it was a specific set or whatever it was. And yeah, Miriam was one of the best, and then she got to, after she was done playing, coach the team as well. And she still coaches down in South Florida to this day and loves the game. She'll come and meet her and her son will come and watch my daughter play now and talk about giving advice. Miriam doesn't, she doesn't stand back, which I kind of love actually. She gives Elle, she'll be like tell her exactly what's going on. So it's really great. No, Miriam's one of a kind, very special person.
Yeah, I know she tries to come back for a football game and a volleyball at the same time, and I think you two try
She
to
does.
reconnect that way as well and
Oh
meet
yeah.
up during that time. My last couple questions: how would you describe you as a player? And now that you've watched your daughter, she develops as a player. What are some aspects that she has you wish you had as a player?
She just has a higher volleyball IQ than I did. Like I thought I knew a lot, but she really studies the game. There were times a few years back when I would ask her to put her iPad away before I'm like, put it away, it's time for bed. And she's like, but mom, I'm watching the team we're playing tomorrow. And I was like, really? I couldn't believe it. So I was like, okay, keep watching. But I think that's the detail maybe that I was missing. The competitiveness, the the teammates, like we had all the pieces, but her IQ of just the overall game is off the charts.
The film, that's right, video
Uh,
now. You got so
yeah,
much studying video now. Players can get it on their phones. You didn't have that access.
you're
I don't,
right. You're
I,
right. You're right.
I've told coaches like how did you all like have scouting reports back then? You know what I mean? Like it's always wild.
We would just get their stat sheets from like their
Yeah,
prior
that's
games
it.
or something
Old
like that.
school.
Yeah,
It's old school. Just
right.
old school.
Yeah.
It's old school. Don, you have any last questions for Emily?
I think I'm good. I really appreciate your time. This was awesome to talk to you and get a lot of good insight. Like I said, the college landscape has changed so much. I mean, especially nowadays. And so it's cool to see like a family entrench a legacy at one university. And so thank you again. You provided us a lot of great info.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of the best UCF athletics families. Really, you can think about it with you and Chad, and now with your son here, and your daughter's going to be in the same conference. It's a pretty awesome, and we appreciate you sharing your story, and hopefully, I know you got a lot of fun days ahead with enjoying this. So thanks for taking the time for talking to us, Emily.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Very, very special times at UCF for sure.